Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today I will be reading from the first chapter from It'll Feel Better When It Quits Hurting, and I hope you all enjoy it. And again, if I misspeak or trip over my words, I hope you guys will forgive me. I really am dyslexic, and sometimes even reading my own words can be difficult. So, I will do my best for you, and now without further ado, I will be reading Song to Soothe the Savage Beast from It'll Feel Better When It Quits Hurting. Life with a sister was definitely different. There were no longer quiet moments to share, relaxing outings with my parents, or unbroken sleep during the night. Music played and vacuums ran continuously. Loads of laundry was done, partly because the sister leaked at both ends, but also so she could be set on the dryer in another vain attempt to quiet her. The center of my parents' universe had shifted to circle around the baby. All activities were done to placate her, and nothing was ever done without first considering how it would affect her, because there was no consideration in the world about whether or not it would make her cry. When Christmas came, we all loaded into my parents' car to spend the holidays with my mother's family out of town. When we arrived, the house was decorated for the season, and everyone was waiting for us with happy smiles and welcoming embraces. There were cookies and cocoa, big meals taken at the formal dining table, cousins and aunts everywhere. There was laughter and large, pretty bows, and even the sister was, mostly, quiet. We sat by the Christmas tree with the snow blowing outside and a fire going in the evenings while I dozed on the floor by its warmth and listened to the calm normalcy of adult conversations around me as the sister slept in another room. This was peace. This was Christmas. And this was wonderful. And all was good and right in the world until we climbed into the car to return home. It was cold and the radio was broken, and the sister began to cry. As the miles passed and the crying turned to screaming, and the screaming became howling, as we rolled down the road, the grip my mother had on the steering wheel became tighter, her face more drawn, and her foot became heavier by the mile, while the sister cried on, oblivious to the rising tide of frustration growing around her. My mother begged me to do something, do anything, to make it stop. By the love of God, make it stop. I turned around in my seat and tried playing peekaboo, and she just stared at me and continued to howl. I tried rubbing her belly, and I tried to give her pacifier. I tried get the nose and with a toy, and I tried this little piggy. And still she continued, with the never-ending wailing that seemed to resonate up from the base of my spine until it ended in a spike in the center of my head. Out of desperation, I began to sing the only song I knew all the way through. Jesus Loves Me. The cry turned into a whimper, and so I sang it again, and the whimper wound down to a sniffle, and then to golden, blessed silence. Oop. Give me a second here. Happy that she had stopped crying, I turned back around and sat down in my seat, when the silence was once again shattered by her crying. Back up and around I turned and sang to her again, and again she quieted, but only for as long as I would continue to sing. Throughout the 2-hour ride back home I sang. I sang until my throat was raw, but sing on I did, continuing in an endless cycle of Jesus Loves Me until we pulled up to the house. At the end of the ride, I honestly don't know if my mother had been driven crazier by my sister's crying or the non-stop song loop monotonously sung by a 6-year-old, but I do believe it may have been the longest car ride in the history of car rides ever. Alright, that's Song to Soothe the Savage Beast, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, guys. Take care.